Hi, this is Dan Bullard, retired electronics engineer, sitting out on the front deck of my houseboat. It's snowing, so it's kind of cool, very cool. Trying to stay warm. I want to talk about some general stuff I think you need to know if you're going to be in electronics. Do smart things, okay? I've been watching a lot of TV, old-time TV shows, TV ads and stuff like that, and ads for 1960s cars, 1970s cars and stuff like that. You never, ever see them make a commercial about a car that doesn't exist. You never see them make a commercial about a car using cardboard mock-ups. They always use a real car, okay? Now, you've seen me rip into all these people like Circuit Digest and all these other people. They do these hand-drawn waveforms, and it's complete horseshit. And I want to point out another one. It was really bad. I've been cleaning out my storage unit, and I came across an old mixed signal thing for IMS. Well, we used to call them I'm a Mess. IMS was a little company that made a tester. They made a digital tester that was adopted by Intel, and so some of the bigwigs at Credence thought it was a good idea to grab a hold of IMS, and because maybe that would give us an in to Intel. Well, Intel used them only for characterization, never used them for production. The production test was done when I was there. They were done by the ITS 9000 IX, which was a 400 megahertz tester, and the IMS tester wasn't anywhere close to that. But apparently Intel liked IMS because they used LabVIEW, and I pointed out LabVIEW a couple times. I despise LabVIEW. I've tried using the IMS, and I don't really like LabVIEw. I like writing my own code. I like writing code, and I prefer Pascal, but if I have to do C or C++, I will. But IMS, they made a mixed signal version of their tester, and it was instigated, I think, by a guy named Mike Conrad and another guy named Joe Milton. And Milky was in marketing, and Conrad ended up rising from being acquired by Credence. It's snowing in here too. He got moved up from his acquired position, and he was CEO, I think, at the time at IMS. He got moved up, and so he was like the head of marketing for Credence, which was crazy. When I was over at Next Test, he's the guy who tried to recruit me back into Credence. And Mike Conrad and some other people came after me after they were at Credence. They came after me when I was at Next Test, and they tried to hire me. And they said, well, if Carmichael asks you to wear a dress or something, you can come back and work for us. And I said, no thanks, I've already worn a white tux. And I showed you the picture of the white tux. Mike Conrad, he was a nice guy. Milky, he had a weird voice that sounded kind of like this. He was really messed up. Why you would put a guy like that in marketing, I do not know. We had a PhD at Credence who worked on the manufacturing floor. So why they couldn't take a guy like Milky to talk like this and work? Why would you take a guy like that and put him in marketing and let him do sales and shit? Forget it. Don't use anybody who talks like that. It's so weird. And I really didn't care much for Milky. I tried to talk to him a little bit, but didn't go anywhere. But Conrad, I got along pretty good with Conrad. We used to go to a place, in this houseboat, we used to go to a place on Gilbert River. It's a little river right over here, about a couple miles, and Gilbert River is pretty cool. It basically connects Multnomah Channel up to Sturgeon Lake, and I got a video of us in Sturgeon Lake. So we used to go up the Gilbert River, but at the beginning of Gilbert River, right at the opening to Multnomah Channel, was a dock. It was a free dock. So there are three, I think. So there's 2 free docks at Coon Island, and there's a free dock at Gilbert River. So, and you could bounce between them. It was really cool. So we used to go to this thing on Gilbert River, and it's a beautiful place, beautiful. We used to go there, we could hang out for days and then bug out and go to Coon Island and come back and hang out again for a couple. It was a beautiful place, had great views. And we liked being on the very end of the dock looking out this beautiful view. Well, one time we were there and all these boats suddenly piled up behind us, and it was the yacht club with Lazy B4, John Backey and his wife, and I think Brenda was her name. He was a nice guy, but in that bunch, in that yacht club was Mike Conrad. And so I got to talk to Mike Conrad. Now this is after we had all this bull stuff going on with, them trying to recruit me and stuff. And so I got to talk to Conrad more informally, while we were at the dock and stuff. And he visited the boat, we gave a tour and everything. He's a nice guy, really nice guy. But we talked a bunch and hung out with Mike and some of the other guys. But in the evening, all these yachts ran their generators. And the way Gilbert River is situated, the wind comes out of the north, comes right down to us. And so we were like bathed in all the exhaust from all their generators. So we decided, let's get the hell out of here. Because we could do that. We only draw like 18 inches of water. So in the first thing in the morning, we untied from the dock and cruised up the river and went up to a place we call Flicker Meadow. It was fantastic. We love Flicker Meadow. We named it that because there was a meadow there and we could always hear flickers there. It was a beautiful place, beautiful. Well, Conrad and all those guys, Backey and all those guys, they didn't know where we disappeared to because they weren't up. So we were up there at Flicker Meadow, and these people came up the dock, from the dock on their little dinghies to visit and check it out. Like, hey, what are you guys doing here? Why'd you come all the way up here? We said, we're tired of smelling your exhaust. So we loved it there. It was a great place. We've been all up and down there. Yeah. Who knows what they're doing. Don't come looking for food over here. We ain't got nothing. But Conrad, he was a nice guy. But he participated with Joe Milton developing this horrible... Boy, they just have to be noisy, don't they? He participated in this thing with Joe Milton to do this really horrible mixed signal thing. And I want to show you what they were doing. Please, God, don't ever do this. If you cannot show off your product by showing what your product can do, like I said, these car ads from the 1950s, 1960s, they didn't show cardboard mock-ups of their cars. They showed the real cars. You would not hand draw a sine wave if you're trying to sell a mixed signal tester. You have got to show the actual waveforms that your tester can generate. And you take those to marketing and you say, what do you think of this? And if they don't like it, they can either say, go to engineering and say, fix it, or go to you and say, okay, don't show it. We're not proud of that. And I was always proud of everything I did. And if I didn't like it, I wouldn't tout it. I wouldn't tell people about it. I wouldn't show them. But I wouldn't do hand-drawn waveforms. That's crazy. So here are a couple of hand-drawn waveforms from IMS, I'm a Mess, and this was done by Joe Milkey and Mike Conrad. Like I said, I don't hold anything against Mike Conrad. He's a nice guy, but Mike, you shouldn't let people do this. You shouldn't do this. I mean, you should not do this. This is terrible stuff. So here's a sine wave with it's a fake sine wave. You can see it's hand-drawn, and a fake spectrum. And here's a multi-tone, fake multi-tone, and a fake spectrum. Now, I showed you a real multi-tone waveform, 24 tones, and the real spectrum, and it's beautiful. And you can't look at that waveform and go, oh yeah, there's 24 tones. No way can you tell that. You have to do the FFT on it. That's one of the beauties of the FFT. And Conrad and those guys, Milky, they couldn't be bothered. You know, what the hell's the problem? This LabVIEW thing, I mean, you would think it would run on a PC and you could capture the screen. How do you do that on a PC? You hit print screen, right? Print screen, and it creates a file on your computer, and then you can go and do stuff with it. And on the Apple, you get Apple 4 or Apple 3, and it creates a screen capture of that thing on the screen. That's how you do it, you know. And on the Sun, which is what I was using to do these things for the multi-tone wave, there was an application on the Sun. So there's no excuse to not capture the wave and show off what your tester can do. So when you're trying to do electronics and you're trying to show off what your machine can do, don't build a cardboard mock-up. Don't do hand-drawn anything. Take screenshots. If you're not proud of the screenshots, go to the software engineers or the hardware engineers and say, fix that. Make it right. I don't want to show that to my customers. That's not what the customers want to see. And I've had that issue with, even with Applicos. We had customers complain that they didn't like the way the Applicos showed video or showed pictures, graphics on the screen. So you can, and they did. They got the engineers, the software engineers, to redesign it a little bit to fix it, make it look better. But that's what you do. You don't hand draw crap, okay? That's just like some advice, okay? Anyway, it's cold as hell. I think it quit snowing, but it's cold out here, so I'm going to go inside. So once again, from the river, this is Dan Bullard. See ya.